I'm going to talk about the 6-month anniversary of my diver. Is actually about a week or so late. So let me try to find the stream here so that I can join you all. There it is. Had to refresh a couple times. And there is the stream. Trevor's in the house. Trevor is speedy. Trevor is always first in the chat. So there's that. And let me just pause this. Happy Sunday. Yes, it is a happy Sunday, Brian. Sorry, I'm lightning today. Yeah, lightning fast. The speed of light is Trevor. So I released a video a little while ago. It's actually been a little bit over a week past the 6th. Well, I think I got the watch on the 7th. Oh, I don't have the date on this watch. So, I can't check the date on this watch. So I think we'll take a quick time check here. The 18th. So yeah, I'm late on the 6-month update. Let's wake up the Apple Watch so that we can see what the timing looks like here. There we go. So it looks like the diver is a hair fast, maybe a second or so fast. Hard to tell. But when I set it, I think that's about what it was. I had to reset it for savings time, daylight savings time. So this is only since daylight savings time, and I think when I set it, it was a hair fast. I don't like it to be slow. I try to get it spot on, but it's almost impossible to get it spot on. So, but up until that time, when I reset it for daylight savings time, it was within a second. I mean, it might have been like 3/4 of a second fast or something, and I did a video at the time. It was amazing. After 5+ months, it was still spot on. This could be the most accurate spring drive Grand Seiko out there. It's scary how accurate this watch is. So there's that. So to answer your question, the accuracy is ridiculous. So I paused the video. Looks like the diver is right on the mark. Oh, that's a good point. I can do that too. Let's switch back. Let's wake up the phone. Yeah, I can do that. I got a pause thing here. Where is it? Freeze. Bam. Okay, so I just did a freeze frame on it. And yeah, it looks like it might be spot on. Again, the camera angle does play tricks. The camera angle does play tricks. But it's so close. It's hard to make a final judgment call. You showed it just as I asked. Okay, there you go. Yeah, we have this time delay thing going on. So anyway, yeah, it's scary how accurate it is. And we also talked a little bit about the dress watch the other day, and you can see here how easily it goes under the cuff. And you can see the size on my 7 1/4-inch wrist. See what it looks like there. And let me give you a side view. See the side view there? How it goes under the cuff? Okay, so see, it just very easily slips under that cuff. See, it's totally under the cuff now. Now it's a bit out, almost completely out. So I am really concerned about functionality of any of my gear, including clothing. I want everything to function. I want it to be comfortable if it's clothing. If it's a watch, I want it to be comfortable on wrist too. If it needs to go under a cuff, I want it to do so smoothly. I don't want to have to grab and force it under. And, if you're wearing an oversized watch, it kind of gets caught on the cuff sometimes and doesn't want to go under, and then it wrinkles the cuff. you know, first world problems for sure, but still. Yeah, this is a Harris tweed jacket, and I actually wore this today because I watched a special. Well, it was a gentleman that interviewed the people regarding Harris tweed and the history of it and all that. And I stumbled across that on YouTube yesterday and watched it. And so I figured I'd dig this out and wear it. This is an old Harris tweed jacket, and it holds up really well. So if you were only going to have one or two sport coats, you couldn't do wrong by having Harris tweed. It's very rugged stuff. And once it starts getting, if you start getting it worn in the elbow, for example, I have one that I finally wore a hole in the elbow, and I just put leather patches on it, and it's good to go for another 10 or 20 years. So let's see. I shame my 6-inch wrist, can't handle a spring drive diver, forever banished. So this would be a good watch for you. This 35 mil, 18 karat gold dress watch would probably look great on a 6-inch wrist. What do you all think in the comments? Would that look good on a 6-inch wrist? My wrist is 7 1/4. Let us know how you think that would look on a 6-inch wrist. Speaking of functionality, what do you think of jackets or pants with fake pockets, I guess is what you mean. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the point of that would be. Yeah. I use the pockets on my coats. I put business cards in them inside. Sometimes I put things in these pockets inside. I'll pull up. I'll show you the where I have all of these things. Well, not all, but I took photos of a bunch of these sport coats and stuff, just so that people could know what brands to look for. Let me see if I can bring it up here on the computer, and then I can share it with you. And I will actually put the link in the chat to the photo album on Flickr. And I might add some more. Feel too bad. The no date sub is hell. Yeah, the no date sub is a nice piece. Absolutely. Okay, so here, if I go here, this is the set, the photo set that I shared. I shared the link in the chat, and I just snapped a bunch of photos, and you notice that H. Freeman and Sons. That's a really good brand, okay? So I just wanted to show, and there's a Harris tweed jacket, okay? And that's where that one came from, but it doesn't really matter if you get this label here inside. Generally speaking, and I try to get ones that are tailored in the USA if I'm in the US, or England or something like that, but they're going to, generally speaking, be high quality because they got to pay for that fabric, you know, pretty penny, so it's not going to be junk. That's cashmere, and of course LeBeau clothes. That's high-end stuff. So again, I was just trying to share some labels that you can look for. Here's a suit from the Georgetown University shop, and so anything from the Georgetown University shop, and Corbin is a good brand. So if you see something by Corbin, there you go. And here's another example. And that's another one from the Georgetown University shop. Okay. And here's a camel hair from Macy's back in the day. Okay, so if you see something 100% camel hair, don't go for the blends because the blends tend to be lower quality. So if it's like camel hair and wool blend or something, that it's going to tend to be a more budget-oriented type thing. Here's a jacket that came from England. So just about anything made in England, you can't go too far wrong there. And that's the brand And here's the jacket I have on right now. And there's where it was made in Ireland. Okay. And again, it is Harris Tweed. I didn't take the picture of the Harris Tweed label, but it has the Harris Tweed label on the other side. Here's another camel hair that was sold new in Cape Cod. Again, a very affluent area, Cape Cod, so you know it's high-end. Here's a suit from Neiman Marcus, so anything from Neiman Marcus is going to be high dollar. Again, some of these companies may or may not still be in business, but that doesn't matter if you're buying vintage. Here is a Harris Tweed jacket that I wear often. It came from Lord & Taylor's. That was a high-end, a relatively high-end department store. Again, there's that Harris Tweed. It says tailored in the USA, Harris Tweed logo. Okay, and here's another Harris Tweed. Again, from Lord & Taylor. And there's a suit from the Georgetown University shop. That's Oak Loom Clothes. That's, again, high-end brand. Solka & Company, very high-end. And there's a shirt from sold new in Beverly Hills. You know that's a high-end shirt. Nordstrom, they make good stuff, good shirts. Kenneth Gordon makes really good stuff. So you see anything from Kenneth Gordon, shirts and so forth, those are high-end. Saks Fifth Avenue, of course, high-end. Again, Nordstrom. And just some ties. There's some EDC knives. And, of course, that photo speaks for itself. There you go. All right, so we'll switch back. I'll go back to the comments. So that I shared that link. So if anybody wants to know what brands to look for, pure Scottish wool. I wonder if they do Scottish wool anymore, or if high-end wool is now coming from New Zealand. Well, there's a story on the go watch some videos about Harris Tweed. Yeah, as far as I know, they're still doing it. And it's done to certain standards in order to get that label with the license number on it and all that. It has to be done a certain way, hand woven and so on and so forth. So it's a pretty fascinating story about Harris Tweed. So check that out. My wrist is 7 1/4. If it swells during the summertime, it might go up to as much as almost 7 1/2. But in the wintertime like now, it's basically generally 7 1/4. Please tell me that video earlier today was a parody. I bet your gloves are worth more than that watch. They're Grand Seiko gloves. Well, here's the deal. I guess it's Manny. They sent me that watch, and I generally do not review junk on my channel. But having said that, for whatever it was, $43 or whatever the hell the price was, I was amazed that they can even make an automatic watch that actually functions, that's not absolutely terrible. Of course, I don't like the design of it or anything like that. What do they call that? Tourbillon, where you can see through everything and all that. I mean, it's freaking ridiculous. But anyway, I went ahead and reviewed it because somebody might want to buy something for their kid to wear where they want to spend like $40. And I was amazed. There's a bunch of them. There's some of them for even less than that. And I find it amazing that they can build an automatic wind watch, ship it all the way from China, sell it, ship it to me, Amazon Prime, for $44. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's freaking ridiculous. So you can see why they can make some of these fake Rolexes and sell them for like, even the good ones, the good fakes, you can get for like, I don't know, $500, $600, $700. I don't know what they sell for these days, but you know, I mean, you can get a really good fake for multiple hundreds of dollars. We're not talking thousands of dollars. It just goes to show you that there's some industrious people out there. I tend to have somewhat broader shoulders and a more muscular upper torso build. How do Harris coats wear in the chest and shoulders? Well, if you get a conservative design, they tend to not be as close cut. They tend to give you a little bit more room, but you just have to try some things on. And if you're really almost misshapen, like a bodybuilder, really huge up top, and you might have some problems. You might have to get something custom made, but I doubt it. I think if you get the right size to fit your chest, shoulders, and all that, yeah, it might be a little loose around the waist or whatever, but they can take that in. I mean, there's things that can be done. But yeah, if you're a real oddball shape, then it makes it harder. I wear almost a 42 regular right off the rack with minor alterations, which is very convenient. Very convenient. But is it quality? Not really, Manny. I mean, it's a $44 watch. What do you expect? I said in the video, I'm not even 100% sure that leather strap is leather. It says it's genuine leather on it, but I couldn't really tell, to tell you the truth. I mean, I could have not reviewed it. I could have not done a video, but they took the time and effort to send the thing to me. And to me, it would be kind of a slap in the face for me to not at least do a video. And I think I called it the way I saw it. I don't think I called it a super high quality, amazing watch at any price. What I called it was something that was fairly amazing that they could do it for that price point and that it would actually run. It does not hack. They even claim you can swim with it. Oh, jeez. Oh, boy. You live long enough, you see everything. I don't even know what I'm going to do with the thing. Hey, Mr. Ship, should I buy the Seiko SARB 033 or the Steinhardt GMT Coke? I like the Steinhardt. How long? Let's start here. How long are you planning on keeping the watch? What are your plans for the watch? Give me a little bit more information. While you're doing that, I'm going to pull up the SARB so that other people can see what we're talking about. And the SARB, it looks like Shopping in Japan has them. I like shoppinginjapan.net. That's where my SBDC 007 came from. So it's $448 on Shopping in Japan. Let me cut to that. So there's the watch. They're really two different watches. I mean, big time. They're two different watches. I would say go for the SARB, dude. You won't regret it forever. Okay. Yeah, if you are planning on keeping it a long, long time, I think I would go for the SARB for sure. And it seems like to me, if you're going to keep it a long, long time, it sounds like to me like you're also going to be wearing it all the time. It's not going to be in rotation with other watches. So I think it's a better all-around watch that you can use wearing with a suit like I'm dressed now, or casual or whatever. I think it's going to be more versatile. Best EDC watch. Yeah. Does the SARB have micro adjustments? I can't tell by this picture. Can somebody chime in the comment section if the SARB has micro adjustments or not? an 017. Okay, let me pull up the 017. Let's see. Oh, so that's the Alpinist. Yeah, that's a pretty awesome watch, but but again, that's not going to be quite as versatile. So there's the Alpinist. Here's one on a bracelet. Oh, that's a small photo. Yeah. So yeah, that would the Alpinist would almost be like a halfway in between the two. No micro adjustments. Yeah. Very little adjustments, so go for the strap code bracelet. Oh, that's an interesting point. Yeah, because the neat thing about those Seikos is they sell so many of them that strap code makes a really nice bracelet or bracelets for it that fit real nice from what I understand. From what I understand, they've gotten pretty good with those aftermarket bracelets for those. Have you checked the new silver? We're talking about Casio. Strap code sells a very good quality Jubilee bracelet with 0 through 5. The clasp is a little large, though. What adjustments does that Jubilee bracelet? Does it have any micro adjustments? Can't decide between the Omega Speedmaster or the Grand Seiko Sub. Oh my gosh, Grand Seiko Sub, no doubt. And I know that they are very different watches. What do you think? I wouldn't even. It would not even be a close call for me. I would go for the GS Sub. Yeah, the Omegas don't raise to that level. They're a great watch, but they're not. They don't come up to the Grand Seiko level. Couple steps down. You ask me. The Jubilee has 4 or 5 micro adjustments. That's good. I like micro adjustments. That's one of the reasons, believe it or not, that I dumped the Snowflake. I didn't like the fact that it didn't have micro adjustments. Again, I'm all about practicality and use, you know. My watches are not safe queens. My watches get used. What are your thoughts, if any? Orient Triton diver. Have you seen it? The dimensions look similar to the GS diver. Not tall watch or overly wide. I haven't seen it, but I'll try to pull up a picture of it at least. I bought a strap code bracelet for my Alpinist. It's awesome. Paid $160 for the bracelet. A lot of money, but the quality is top. Yeah, that it's worth it to get a really good bracelet. Grand Seiko all the way. Better build, self-winding, better accuracy, sapphire, glass, and water resistant. It's just way easier watch to live with than the Speedmaster. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so here's the Orient. Here's the Orient. Yeah, I would save up and buy something else, personally, is what I would do. Yep. I would pass on the Orient. Sure, it's not a terrible watch, but I would pass on it. Orient Star Line. Okay. I'll tell you what I would buy before I would buy one of those is I would keep an eye out for a real good deal on a Grand Seiko quartz, a 9F movement quartz. You can get a steal on them sometimes. People don't want quartz, right? Best freaking quartz movement conceived by man. Can I get an Archie Luxury Rolex impression? They said my Archie Luxury Rolex impression is no good. One of the reasons why it's not good is I've got a limiter on this. I'm using a Mix Pre-6 by Sound Devices is what I'm mixing the sound through, and it's got limiters built in. So if I yell, it automatically brings down the level so that I don't overrun. And so I can't overmodulate the way he does when he says Rolex. You know, my limiter automatically, even though I said that loud, my limiter doesn't let it come through real loud. So I can't get the same effect that he gets with the distorted audio and everything. Leave Archie for archery. Let Craig be Craig. Oh, boy. Yeah, nobody else can be Archie, that's for sure. But, you know, he's a perfect example of what we've been talking about. Don't look at these watches as investments, because he claims he lost money on a number of his watches when he sold them recently. I don't know if he actually sold them or didn't. I don't even know if he actually owned them ever. You know, who knows what the real truth is. But the bottom line is you don't, these are not something that you invest in. Now, somebody like him, he's making money off his YouTube channel. And so they're sort of like props for him to use, right? And some of these other YouTubers are using these watches kind of like props, so they're getting some benefit out of it. But if you're not monetizing your videos and you're not using these things to actually make money, it's not a good investment to just buy watches and have them sitting around and think that they're going up in value or that they're even really holding their value, because generally speaking, they're not. These should be considered tools to buy and use. They should not be considered as assets. Please, please, people, don't consider them as assets. My only quartz is a Seiko Flightmaster. Do we know how many GS makes per model? The production numbers? No, we don't. But it's not a high number. Because if you look at the videos from the factory and you see how they make them and the work that goes into making them and all, they can only make so many. These are basically hand assembled by watchmakers, and I mean, it's a time-consuming process to make a GS. So they can't crank out a ton of them. It's not a machine-made watch. Rolex is mostly machine-made now. There's some hand things they do, but a lot of it's just machine-made. And so they can crank them out. Is a gold Datejust cool in your opinion, or merely a poor man's present? I think a gold Datejust would be fantastic, and I think you could get a deal on one. And especially if you bought one on a strap that didn't have the bracelet, you can get an even better deal. You know, head only. I would rather buy that. Let's say I spent $6,000 on that. I'd rather spend $6,000 on a 36 mil, 18 karat gold Datejust or just a Oyster perpetual in gold than buy a steel sport watch Rolex. I think that'd be a cool watch to wear for the rest of your freaking life. I mean, talk about a cool freaking watch. Let's pull one up. Let's see if we can find something. Where should we try? Chrono 24? Let's try Chrono 24. Try Chrono 24. And let's search for an 18 karat gold Rolex. Rolex. All right, let me see what I can find here real quick. Of course, a bunch of steel and gold ones come up. I better narrow it down. I better put in here DATEJUST. We'll try DATEJUST first, and then we'll try a date. Let me see what I can find here. Here's a steel and gold on a strap for $3,700. Keep looking here. Keep looking. Should be easier. This should be easier to do. Their search engine's terrible. Here's one with a bracelet for 10 grand. But you can buy a date 8 for that. Speak of the devil, here's a date 8 for $59.50. It's probably got a lot of stretch in the bracelet. Some tacky watches. This is not going well here, folks. I'm going to look a little more. Oh, here's one. Here's one for $5,931. What did I say? $6,000. Let me pull this one up. And now this is a DATEJUST, so you could probably get, share the screen, you could probably get just an Oyster Perpetual non-date for even less. Let's see what we got here. Let's go through this a little bit. In pretty good shape. It looks like it's polished a little bit, not overly so. And there's some wear on the bezel, but that's fine. That just makes it look classy. That would look classy on wrist. I don't like the gold dial. I would rather have a white dial so it's easier to read, but oh, look, it's even got the Rolex clasp. I wonder if that's 18K, that clasp. I like it. Original box, no original papers. So, you offer that guy $5 grand. Crocodile skin, leather. Let's see what it says. Oh, it's in Italy. Italy. Yeah, it's got a sapphire crystal. I mean, $19.90. So see, it's also got the newer. It's also got the newer movement. It's got the 3135 movement. So, what do you all think about that? What do you think about that? Okay, let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got here. Can you go into depth on your G-Shock altercation story? Do you have to handle business with your crispy Sabenza? I don't think I had the Sabenza at that time. Any thoughts on the new Grand Seiko that looks like a possible Grare watch to me? Is that the limited edition one? The 50 unit gold one? You say dark blue. Wait, let me pull that one up. I don't think that's the gold one. Let me pull it up. Hold on. Oh, a Heritage Collection. Huh, that's interesting. I'm not really familiar with that watch. I wonder why it's 5,200. Why is it so much more than the entry level? They have an entry level one that. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with that watch that much. Okay, here's one from, okay, and I can't go into detail on that because there might be some details, Manny, with regard to that situation that might not be limited by the statute of limitations. Even though it was many years ago, I have to be careful about that one. Suffices to say, if somebody steps to me and wants to take my gear, it's not going to be a good day for them. Would you recommend Grand Seiko as a first watch? Yeah, I think so, depending on your budget, what you're looking to spend. Because you can get them in all different price ranges. If you get a used quartz off eBay, you can get some real deals on the 9F quartz, to the point where it almost makes no sense to buy something else. You're getting a top-tier watch for a bargain, I think. I see some steel ones for like $900, $800, you know, that kind of pricing, in really good shape. Now, it's going to be a 9F quartz, but that's a fantastic piece. Talk about no maintenance. You don't have to do any maintenance to these puppies. Just replace the battery every 3 or 4 years and keep on going. Keep on getting up. No servicing, no nothing. How's that puppy look on wrist? Chime in what you think about how it looks on wrist. All right. There you go. What did you all think about that gold DATEJUST? Chime in. We just showed off a gold DATEJUST. What did you all think? 1803, 1972 model, date 8, yellow gold on leather for $56.43. Yeah. Here's the thing with that is you could run into some servicing issues if that watch was abused and has issues. You know, I'm not sure. I guess Rolex will still service those, one that old. I would just be a little bit concerned about the service on that and some potential issues with a watch that old. But that's, you know, that's a hell of a watch. I had an 1803, and it's not that much of a pain in the neck to set the date. It's kind of tricky the way you do it, but it's not that much of a big deal. Search engine is fine. You can select a model, then refine. Because yeah, that's what I should have done, Steve. There are some 1803 day dates on leather straps for just under $6,000. Yeah, I mean, I think. What about a newer one, like an 18238? What would they be on a strap? Because I would be tempted to get a double quick set. Love the looks of that. Don't mess with Craig's gear. Look at this. Hey, it's expensive gear, and like the time I was coming back from shooting the Baltimore Grand Prix, I had some photos that could not be replaced. I mean, I had some really good photos of that race. I still have them. If you search Baltimore Grand Prix on my Flickr, you'll see. It was the first time that race had been run. They don't run it anymore. And I got some really good pictures. And I'm loading my car, right? I parked about 2 miles or so away from the center of downtown where the event was, down at the waterfront there, down at the Inner Harbor, they call it. I parked about, well, maybe 1.5 miles out from there in a paid parking lot, you know, where you have a remote thing you pay. There wasn't a person there, right? And I rode my Segway down from there, down to cover the event. I always use a Segway because I can really get around and cover everything. And then I come back and I load everything in. I'm coming back, I'm starting to load the car, and this yamoke walks up to me, you know, and he says, listen, he says, I'm going to take all your stuff. You know, and if he took my stuff, not only do I lose my gear, but the photos, I can't replace those photos. I told him, I said, and this is where they'll find you too. And that time I did have the Sabenza, and I had my hand on the Sabenza, and he had nothing showing in his hands. And if he'd have gone for something like in his coat or something like that, I'd had to make a move. But fortunately, he backed down and figured he'd go find easier prey. He was obviously a drug addict. $900, that's ridiculous. What a bargain. Yeah, you'll find them on eBay. Heck yeah. Let's see here. Whatever need. That Citizen, how's it powered? Is it solar powered or something? Those give trouble. I wouldn't go for that. The spring drive is a much more reliable system. If you want something without a battery that's extremely accurate and extremely reliable, the only way to go is the spring drive. The kinetics and the solar powered and all those will give trouble. I love the gold Datejust. I would take the Date 8 over that, or maybe a Calatrava. You can't get a Calatrava for that price, though. I don't think you can buy a Calatrava for $6,000 in good shape. Can you? Nice gold Datejust you showed there. We'll be wearing mine again in a couple of weeks. Okay, is it okay to post links? Sure. As long as YouTube lets you, I don't care. 18238s on chrono are $8 to $9,000 with a leather strap. Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's stepping up. That's getting a little bit pricey. But it might be worth paying the extra to get a more modern movement and to get the double quick set. It might be worth it. Do a lowball offer to the people. And the important thing is I would like to try to find one that was an original owner watch where you know the history of the watch. You know it's never been polished. I'd want one that had never been polished. I'd prefer one that had never been touched by anybody, never opened, that still was running good. Solar power, never had a problem with that. 3 Citizen EcoDrive, older than 23 years old. Well, okay, maybe. Maybe. I had problems. I had one give trouble. I returned it to Costco. They gave me my money back because they'll do that almost forever if it gives trouble. They have a great warranty. I have a gold blue dial Tiffany signed Patek I got for $42.50 in good but polished condition 2 years ago. I love it, but it just seems fragile. Hell of a deal. Depending on how much polishing you're talking about. What do you think about the KX009? Pedro here. Here is the one I'm referring to, Craig. I don't see a link. Maybe they didn't post your link. Your jacket looks comfy. It pairs well with the gold 9F quartz. I'll tell you, Manny, the thing about 18 karat gold, don't let anybody tell you, it goes with everything. You cannot beat 18 karat gold on the wrist. I mean, it is freaking gorgeous. And these people that say that it's tacky and all this stuff, and this thing does run this way on my wrist. I guess it has to do with the way the strap is doing. I probably need to replace the strap with one that's better centered. Okay, on my wrist. This is the original strap. And it's still in pretty good shape, but it's not centered. See, the clasp is off center this way, and it keeps pulling the watch up like that. See, instead of being here. The function of the way the strap is. So there's that. But I mean, you can't beat the look, in my opinion, of an 18 karat gold watch on wrist. Howdy, looking sharp, Craig. Well, thank you, Turkey Vulture. You need a Rolex. I'll tell you, let's do a time check here. Do a time check. If I wasn't totally spoiled by the accuracy of the spring drive, and of course the 9F quartz, my gosh, that's insane. If I wasn't totally spoiled, then I would definitely consider, wearing a Rolex. I've done it for 40 years, I mean, but now everything's parked. Everything's off my wrist. I've sold most of my other watches, and I wear the diver pretty much all the time. And then when I'm dressed, with a shirt cuff and all that, I wear the 9F quartz dress watch, and that's it. And I'm totally spoiled by the accuracy. Let's do a stop action here. Do a freeze frame when it gets right at the 15. Well, actually, let's do it at 19 seconds. I'm going to try to do a freeze frame. Whoops, I just missed it. But you can see they're almost exact. It's just a hair before the 19-second marker for both the Apple Watch and the Grand Seiko. I mean, they are pretty much there. I've just really been spoiled. Don't sell the Day Date. I'm not going to sell it unless I buy a Day Date 40. If I buy a Day Date 40, then it'll go down the road. I won't keep both. But I don't think I'm going to buy a Day Date 40 until I'm probably going to give it another year or so for the prices to soften on them a little more, because they've only been out, like the current model, the Day Date 40 has only been out, since 2015, I think? Something like that. And the prices are still pretty damn high. So that's the watch I'm tempted to get. But I may not do it. We'll see. You got to get a discount on a Rolex. Oh, yeah, you can get a heavy discount on a gold Rolex. Don't let anybody tell you can't. If I bought it new, I'd definitely get a discount, a heavy discount, probably 30%. Day Date 40 is amazing. Yeah, I think it might be a little bit too big, though. I'm not sure. I think it might be a little bit too big. I think 38 mil would probably be the sweet spot. 40 is too big. I wish they made it. Yeah, see? Durr just said the same thing. What is the purpose of the Apple Watch in your collection? When would you wear it? I wore it for a while. I don't wear it anymore, but I wore it for a while. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It's also comfortable on wrist, believe it or not. That link bracelet, they did a good job with that watch, and it's not that thick. It'll go under a cuff. There's a lot of good things to be said for an Apple Watch, and they're better now. They've improved them. But to answer your question, the only thing I use it now for is synchronizing my other watches, because it's accurate. I use it as my main synchronization. And now, though, I don't even have to use it that often because these other watches are so damn accurate. The only time I'm going to have to adjust the timing on my Grand Seikos is at daylight savings time, twice a year, in the spring and in the fall. That's the only time I'm going to have to mess with them. Other than that, they're so damn accurate. Would you consider doing paid reviews like Archie? Probably not, because I don't have the knowledge that he has, really. And I'm just doing this really to help out my loyal, friendly subscribers and trolls, and all of them. I even love the trolls. And I've been doing more of these recently. First of all, in the winter time, I'm not covering as many events as I do in the spring, summer, and fall. And so I have a little bit more time available to me to do these. And people have been asking for me to do more live streams. So that's why I've been doing more of these recently. But I don't know that this will be a normal thing. The NH35A, my Invicta Pro driver, is running a couple of minutes fast. Not sure what all that means. So, yeah, here's the thing. A lot of the watches that are popular these days, I would have no interest in. None. Throw that thing out. It's not worth fixing. Invicta, enough said. Okay, so here's the deal. Let me pull up the watch box again. I love Tim. I like what he does. Let me pull up his channel on YouTube. And I'm going to go through, again, I'm going to go through and just tell you which watches you should get and which watches you should stay away from. Watch box. Give me a minute here. I'll pull them up. Watchbox Studios. He really does great reviews, if you ask me. Now, he won't tell you if a watch is ugly. He'll kind of imply it, but he won't tell you if a watch is ugly. All right, so I'm going to do, okay, date added. Okay, that's good. All right, let me see how I can do these. I'm going to do a list so we can see them bigger. Yeah, okay, here we go. All right, so here we go. Are you all ready for this? Take notes. All right. Panerai is ugly, okay? Those, all three watches on that next one, where it says Rolex, Patek Philippe, Omega, all of those are, the G-Shock, I don't like square watches, period, but the G-Shock, I might give it a pass, but, you know, the Patek in the middle is ugly. I don't even think the chronograph is, the Cosmograph, the Daytona is a particularly attractive watch. I would much rather have a GMT Master 2 for less money. I don't get it, man. Okay, let's go on down here. Okay, so those, the watch on the right there, that's kind of ugly, kindly a little bit ugly, the shape of it. The Rolex is okay, of course. Let's keep going here. That watch, I would pass. I'd have no need for that watch. Okay. These two, okay, but I'd rather buy a GS diver and just pass on both of them. And these two, I don't like the lugs on that watch. I guess that's a Datejust. I don't know if that's a Datejust 41. If it is, I think I'd rather have the older style case and a Datejust 36 mil Datejust. That's kind of ugly. I'd pass on that one. Either one of those would be okay. Either one of those would be okay. But I'd still rather just spend the same money and get a GS and get a better watch. Okay, these two are just ugly. There's no reason for either one of these watches. Okay, and you don't need to see through the face and see the guts. You don't need this tourbillon and all that crap. It's a waste of time and money. Okay. And that thing, I don't know, I wouldn't put that on my wrist. These I'd pass. All three of those I'd pass. Pass on the Panerai. Pass on these two. Notice I'm passing on a lot of these. Pass on these. Pass on these two. Pass on that. That's ugly. Look at the case. Ugly. And that's a Rolex. That's kind of ugly. And I don't need a square watch, period. I'll just pass on that altogether. These are just stone cold, horrendous looking. Ugly. Oh my gosh, talk about ugly. And an integrated bracelet date 8, give me a break. Pass on that. Pass on those two. Pass on the Speedy. I don't need a Speedy. The jingly bracelet and stuff. And yeah, the newer ones are better, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but just pass on all that. These two are just ridiculous. That's ugly. That Omega's okay, but again, I would just spend the same amount of money. You could probably get a GS Diver. This, again, is an ugly watch, ugly bracelet. That's ugly. Ugly. And the Rolex is okay. The other one, ugly. Ugly. The Breitling's too busy. These three are all three ugly. So there's the point is, that's not bad, that IWC. The case looks okay. I could tolerate that. The point is, there are a lot of ugly watches out there these days. I think people are going out of their way to make ugly watches. Look at these three. I'd pass on all three of those. All right, let's go back to this is depressing. I don't want to see all these ugly watches. Let's go back to the comments. Let's go back to the comments. My gosh, people. Batman. Equestrian hotties on your channel. Oh, you mean the barrel racers? We're doing a show. You should watch the show. Monday nights at 10 p.m. Cowgirls Live. Check it out. It's going to be a weekly show hosted by Sarah Butler. She's a cowgirl barrel racer, and she's all that. Let's go back here. Okay. If there was a 9F quartz version of your GS Diver, would you have bought that over the spring drive? Probably not. I like the silky smooth secondhand on the spring drive, and I like the fact that my main everyday watch does not have a battery, and just, you know, I don't have to worry about it. I'll probably be able to wear it for the rest of my life and not have to open the case, not have to do anything. That's kind of fun, kind of reassuring, and it's plenty accurate enough. How did you transition from appraising cars to shooting videos? I got in the kind of the advertising business, if you will. It's a long roundabout story, and then the internet came along, and I decided that the internet was going to be a thing. So I bought a lot of domain names and did a lot of development on the internet, and have kind of stayed in that genre ever since. You got to get a bat. Okay, that G-Shock and regular steel looks nice, but a bit steep. Yeah, I'd pass on that. Aquanaut with the bracelet is not bad. The Patek Craig was referring to as ugly. The Aquanaut and the Notch. Yeah, they're ugly. Ugly. Do you like the Moonwatch? No, I would pass on the Moonwatch. There's no need for it. I don't. Now, if you race cars and you need the tachometer, you know, function, maybe, but there's probably others I would probably get. I would probably get the titanium, the Grand Seiko. It's a higher quality chronograph that you can get. You'd have to pay more money for it than the Speedy, but it'd be less than a Rolex. And that would be all that. Pass the chicken nuggets. I'm hungry. Richard Milley, gross. Yeah. IWC big pots are super nice. People who ask you live stream should. People who ask you live stream should come in. It's been 1 week since you started a daily live, and you hardly have more than 45 live viewers. I know, but see, my channel is not a watch channel, okay? Most of my subscribers are not watch people. So it's not like the watch channels that all they do is watch stuff. I've been doing a fair amount of watch stuff recently, and I've done some in the past, but it's never been the focus of the channel. So, of course, people are going to see a watch video, and if they have no interest, they're not going to come in. I feel like the watches you like, I also like, but many you consider ugly, I rather like. Well, You need to have your tastes need to evolve a little bit. Here's a watch you'd like, a Patek Calatrava 5127. I think you're probably right. Let me pull it up. GS chronograph is pretty ugly. I don't know. It's just a little bit thick for my taste. I would have probably bought it if it wasn't so thick. Okay. Oh, yeah, and you can get that one with a bracelet. Here's one for $32,000. Let me pull it up. There's a 5127J on a bracelet. Oh, come on. I'm not going to give you my email address, guy. All right, let's see what size this watch is. Oh, look, it's nice and thin. See that? Nice and thin. Yeah, I've looked at this watch before. Yeah, 37 mil. I wonder if it has a screw-down crown. All right, that's enough of him. I wonder if it has a screw-down crown. Have trouble wearing anything over 38 that doesn't have a dive bezel. Watches are more fun, though. I like your channel. I like your channel, even though I disagree with some of your opinions. Well, you'll come around, Kenneth. I love the GS chronograph. That's incredible. I like Tudor, Rolex, and Grand Seiko. Well, get rid of the Tudor and keep some of the Rolex. But once you go Grand Seiko, it's hard to go back. It really is hard to go back to Rolex. I'm speaking firsthand knowledge here. It's sort of ugly in the quirky, good way. That's a pretty nice Calatrava. Yes, it is. Why can't everybody design watches that are elegant? See how this is elegant on wrist, how it curves nicely and fits the wrist. It's nice and thin. What the hell is the problem? Why do people just design like ugly watches? Do people have no taste anymore? Very good. Yeah, but what do you need the moon watch for? You can buy a used Grand Seiko spring drive, unless you need the chronograph function for some reason, Kenneth. You can buy a spring drive Grand Seiko for that kind of money. Don't think that movement has hacking seconds, though. Oh, you talking about the Calatrava? Does it have a screw-down crown? I think if I was spending that much money, I'd want a screw-down crown. This watch does not have a screw-down crown. And even their new 18-karat gold watch that's $29,500, their limited edition to 50 pieces, guess what? It doesn't have a screw-down crown. Grand Seiko doesn't like to do screw-down crowns on gold watches. It looks like the Calatrava has a screw-down crown. Okay, cool. Speedy is an overrated sissy chronograph. I hear you. How much water resistance? Keep doing the watch videos. Makes a change. Listening to someone that doesn't profess to be an expert, then they are no more expert than anyone else with access to Google. Yeah, the only thing that that I would say I qualify as an expert on is I did own Rolexes for 40 years and used them day to day. So I'm kind of an expert on daily use of high-end watches, you know, not Safe Queen watches, actually using these watches. The grass popped out on the moon. He grabbed his boulevard. I'm going to the moon in June next year. So, yeah, but that GS spring drive doesn't have history. Yeah, what the hell do I care about history? I care about the damn thing doing its job. Let's go back to By the way, Seiko has a long freaking history. Let's do a time check here. There you go. That's a time check for you. And again, there's a delay wherever you are. Whoops, I just wiggled the whole table again. Okay. How many Rolex have you owned and which models? Okay. I don't really remember all of them, but I'll start way back in the beginning. Around 1978, I got a DATEJUST. Just a steel with a steel engine turn bezel. It had believe it or not, the bracelet on it was American made. They did that then. Then a couple of years later, they came out with what was called the Swiss bracelet on them. And it was a folded bracelet. Okay. I had that for a relatively short period of time. Then, believe it or not, I had a 3/4 size DATEJUST that had a white gold bezel that I bought used that had water damage. I got a hell of a deal on it. I took it up to Rolex New York and had them service it. They used to service them there in New York. Around 1979 or so, I bought my first Date-8, a used 1803 with a conventional clasp bracelet. President bracelet, conventional clasp with a lot of stretch in it. I got it for a pretty decent deal at the time. Had it for maybe a year or 2 or 3. I don't remember exactly how long I had that one. And then I, sometime around that time frame, early 80s, I bought a GMT Master 2 with a black bezel and a Jubilee bracelet. I also bought a red Submariner in that time frame, which I sold to my friend Paul, who still has it. I did a video about that. I ran into him at Little Treasure Jewelers. He had the watch with him. I sold the GMT2 with the Jubilee bracelet at some point, and I bought a GMT2 with an oyster bracelet that was, I guess you call it the Pepsi dial or whatever, you know, the standard dial. It wasn't the all-black dial. And had that one for a while. Then at some point, I sold the Date-8 with the conventional clasp and got a Date-8 with the President bracelet, with the hidden clasp bracelet that was in better shape. Had that for a long time. And I was rotating that off with the GMT for a long time. And then I sold that. And then in about the year 2000, I bought the one that I have now, brand new. Oh, and I also had a white gold Date-8 that I bought in the mid-80s that I got a hell of a deal on. It was sitting in the jeweler's window, brand new, but he hadn't sold it. He had it for like 2 years and hadn't sold it. So the list price on it was already 2 years old, and then I lowballed him considerably below that, I think 40% off that price, and I got that white gold Date-8 brand new. And I wore it for a short period of time and sold it. Actually, this was in 1980, because I remember, because I was working at Capital Porsche Audi at the time, and they went out of business. And in all the shuffle of them going out of business, I ended up selling that white gold Date-8 to the owner. He paid me cash for it, and he bought the white gold Date-8 from me before he went belly up in the business. So that's the deal. Yeah, the President bracelet with hidden clasp is nice, but I'll tell you, it was nice having the micro adjustments on the conventional clasp. It was really kind of nice. You've had some nice rollies. Yeah, I have had some nice rollies over the years. In my 40-year journey video from Rolex to Grand Seiko, I show a lot of them in there. So if you want to take a look, go ahead and take a look. What's the longest you've ever owned, worn a Rolex? One particular Rolex, probably the Date 8 that I bought in 2000. So that's 18 years for one particular watch. I think that's probably the record. People seem to think you need to service these things every 5 years. No, you don't need to service them unless they give trouble. Red Samaritan is absolutely tasty. I love the cream-colored markers and oversized raised plate. Yeah, it was a nice watch, and Paul still has it. That's really cool that I sold that to him in the early 80s, and he kept it. I've sold a couple of watches to him. I also had a 125th anniversary Omega that I sold to him. I had a bubble-back Rolex also. I forgot to mention that. I had a bubble-back Rolex that I bought used that I also sold to Paul. And I had a couple of Cellinis too, but I don't think they're even worth mentioning. But anyway, I sold that to Paul, and he still has that. He still has the bubble-back, 125th anniversary Omega, which is a beast of a watch, and the red sub. He kept them all. Which Rolex was your favorite, Craig, and do you regret getting rid of any of them? Not now, I don't. Not now that I've got these GS watches. I mean, I wish I'd have discovered them sooner, to tell you the truth. I thought Rolex was the cat's meow. I thought it was the way to go. I mean, there was no ifs, ands, or buts. It was the way to go. But I don't think so anymore. So no, I don't really miss them. Every day I put that diver on. Of course, I wear it all night, so I don't really take it off. I took it off to put this on, right? I mean, I appreciate it more and more every day I wear it. It's an amazing freaking watch. Do you have a guilty pleasure like a Rolex Patriot? I don't know what that means. The mini dial at 7 o'clock is a power reserve indicator. When you worked at Capital Porsche, did you used to sell 5000S Foxes and what that? Yes, but I mainly sold the Porsches. But yeah, we had the 5000 and we had the diesel 5000. But I'll tell you what, we ran those Porsches. I ran a 930 Turbo some and the 928s. We had some fun with those cars. I lived at the time at the Promenade Complex, which was at the intersection of Wisconsin Avenue and the Beltway. And we would race around from Route 1 in College Park there, where Capital Porsche Audi was. We would race from there around to Bethesda and see who could get there quicker. And this was late at night, because we usually didn't close the dealership out until 10 o'clock, 10:30 p.m., because we were officially open until like 9. But, if you had a customer, you stayed. And so we usually didn't leave there until 10:30 p.m., and there wasn't any traffic at all on the Beltway at that time. And back in 1980, you could kind of let her rip a little bit sometimes. So we had some fun with those cars. Am I the only one who prefers the 14060 no date over the 16610 date sub? I think a lot of people prefer no date. What do you think of the SPGE? Okay, let me look at that one. Okay, so that's a GMT. I guess that's the steel one. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's a fantastic watch. I would go with the titanium version myself, but I'm sure that's a fantastic watch. Absolutely. Okay, I didn't buy it because I like the extension bracelet, and I don't really need the GMT function these days because I'm generally in the East Coast time zone most of the time, up and down the East Coast. So the GMT function wasn't really critical for me, and I like the extension bracelet on the diver. So I have the extension and I have the micro adjustments both. Okay. No, he's a GS car now, more accurate. What's your favorite Porsche you have ever driven and why? Okay, so in 1986, I was driving some cars back from Texas for a dealer that was, Houston was having a serious recession. The oil business and all was a real problem. And so there was a dealer up here in Bethesda, Maryland, that was buying some Porsches out of Houston. And me and a buddy, actually my cousin, flew down and drove two of them back. And I was driving a 1986 944 Turbo. 1986 944 Turbo. And he was driving a 911, a straight 911, not a turbo. And so we drove, you may or may not believe this, we drove back from Houston to Maryland in 19 hours flat. It was 1,900 miles. So we averaged 100 miles an hour on the trip, average. And it was raining hard most of the time. From Texas up to Maryland, it was raining hard. And that's why we didn't have to worry about speed traps, because they weren't even bothering with speed traps because there was so much rain, right? And when you're going, if you're going fast enough with one of those cars in heavy rain, no rain even touches the windshield. You don't even need the windshield wipers. And the car is glued to the ground because of the downforces. And I was literally driving by people that were in the right-hand lane with their wipers going full speed, and they were going like 5 miles an hour because they couldn't see anything. And I was flying by them at like 140, 150 miles an hour. That thing topped out at about 160. A lot of the times we had it just wide open. And the 911 was keeping up with me. But that car was insane fast. And the only time we stopped was for fuel, and it was like a pit stop. We stopped and fueled up and got right back on the road again. We were just like kicking it. We were kicking it. And I called my buddy when I was leaving Houston and told him we're leaving now. I told him, I said, write down the time. And he did. And we got there in 19 hours flat. Yeah, those cars were moving. Okay. Does not come in, only came in steel, but thanks for your time. Well, they make a GMT in titanium. I'm pretty sure they do. Check out the sapphire bezel on catching the light. Yeah, that is a cool that is a cool watch. I mean, it's a toss-up. I could go for that watch. But again, I like the extension bracelet. And I think the hands are even a little bit more readable on the diver's watch. See, the reason I bought the diver's watch is for maximum legibility for my old eyes. In 1986 is when I bought my 944 Turbo. There you go. That's a hell of a car. Talk about a car that will freaking run. Holy cow. That was a sleeper. I mean, a lot of people thought the 928 was all it, but that car was insane. Does come in titanium. It's a different model. Same design. Okay. Check out my link. And, you know, the sapphire bezel, everybody talks about the sapphire bezel. I don't miss the fact that my diver doesn't have the sapphire bezel. It doesn't bother me one bit. The bezel looks fine. It's not scratched. It's holding up fine. If it does get a scratch, no big deal. I mean, I wore Rolexes that didn't have sapphire bezels for years. It didn't bother me. I mean, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't have a sapphire bezel. You know, you can shatter those. So, I mean, it's not all a bed of roses. What is the best watch under 500? I'd try to buy an SBDC 007 used for that price. You might be able to snag one. 150 miles in the rain. Yeah, hell yeah. Those cars will haul freaking ass in the rain. I mean, haul ass. I think it was, I forget which state line I was coming up on. And the rain was kind of like letting up a little bit. And I think I saw a speed trap up on a hill. Like, I think I saw a guy, you know, doing his thing, a Smoky. And I wasn't sure about it. And so I radioed my buddy and I said, listen, I said, we may have a little something there. And we were going about 120, 130 at the time. And so I said, we might as well just open them up. So we just opened them up. And the top end was about 160 or so. And we just ran wide open for about another half an hour. Just put some distance down the road. Yeah, it was. It was like the Cannonball Run. Absolutely it was. That rain gave us a lot of cover. And in Texas, what was really neat was when you're going on those long, straight roads, and it was pitch dark. I mean, middle of the night, pitch dark, right? I'd say, okay, on 3, we're going to cut the lights, right? 1, 2, 3, and we turn off our lights, and it's like you're just like hovering in like space, right? Because you can't see anything but stars. The whole sky is lit up with stars, and you can't see anything else because it's just pitch dark, right? And it's like you're in space. Of course, we didn't leave the headlights off too long. We turned them back on because you don't want to go off the road when you're going like 140 or something. Have you sold your Snowflake? Yes, it's shipped. He's going to get it on Monday. So I'll do a follow-up once he receives it and see what he says about it and all that. He's paid for it, so we'll see what happens. Sapphire bezel plus lume on the bezel is very cool. Yeah, that is cool. Best watch under 500, Snowflake SAR, blah, 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 yeah. Yeah, those would be good choices too. Drove my 911 Carrera 4S Cabriolet from Scottsdale to Denver. Average 140 through Arizona and New Mexico. Great car. Yeah, they'll run. I forget the model 911 that he was following me in. I don't remember. I know it was not a convertible. It was a hardtop. Here, I'll pull up a picture. Maybe you can tell me. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. I think I might have a picture in here. Stand by for Porsche picture. Yeah, here's a picture. This is from that time frame. And you'll notice it's got Texas plates on it. Oh, it was a Targa. There you go. There's the car. And that's not the one I was driving. That's the one that it was actually my cousin that was following me. But he took the picture. So I stood next to that one and he took the picture. I don't think I have a picture of the 944 turbo. But you can see the rain. You can see it was wet. That was when it was letting up a little bit, I guess. Or that might have been we were actually leaving, getting ready to leave. I don't remember when we took that picture. But there you go. Cannonball Run. Cannonball Run. From your experience, have the police in Virginia always been draconian about speeders as they are known for now? It can be a problem. And like I say, one of the big advantages we had coming up on that trip is, especially as we got closer to the Mid-Atlantic region here, the rain was just intense. It was one of those storms that comes up from the south. It was around Thanksgiving time, around this time of the year. And we had one of those storms that kind of comes up from the south and just comes along. It was a big storm. I mean, it was raining hard. And so that gives you a lot of cover if you want to run. From your experience, okay, I read that. Do you have a loom shot of the diver? Is it better than a sub? Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my gosh, yes. You want a loom shot? I'll give you a loom shot. You want loom? I'll give you a loom. I might even give you a video clip of loom. What do you think about that? But let me find it here. You want loom? Did you say you want loom? Did you say you want loom? All right, here's the photo. There's the photo. Loom. Did you say you want loom? Loom shot. All right. And let's see if I can pull up a video of loom. What do you want, a video of loom? A video? Let's see if I can pull up a video of loom. Loom! All right, here we go. Here we go. Loom shot. You say you want loom? Oh, it's jerking because my see the secondhand jerking? It's because my graphics card's not good enough, because this is a 4K video and this is an older laptop that I'm using out here. So it's jerking. But there's your loom shot. You wanted loom? Loom? Did you want loom? Get the heck out of Dodge. I'll put it this way. I'll put it this way. If anybody's trying to defend their position that the Rolex is better than a GS diver, they're going without ammunition, man. They got nothing in the chamber. They got nothing in the chamber. Nothing in the chamber, man. They're going out in the field with no ammunition. The GS diver is an apex predator, okay? It's an apex predator. Don't even try to mess with it. Time check. There we got a time check going on. And no love for motorcycles. Craig. Oh, yeah, I've had motorcycles. You want to see motorcycles? Yeah. We've had motorcycles. Motorcycles. All right, let's go find a motorcycle. What do you think? By the way, all these photos are on my Flickr. You go to my Flickr and you can search my Flickr. Unfortunately, they only go, yeah, I have some older photos on there that I took photos of prints, right? But I don't have that many of the older ones because, you know, everything that predates the internet, man. The internet wasn't around forever. trying to find my BMW motorcycle picture here. I can't find it. I'll find it. I think I'll find it. Here we go. All right. Here we go, buddy. Yeah, buddy. And there's my Z3 BMW that I bought new in 1996, I believe. Cut to the chase here. Cut to camera 4. All right. So there's a R100RT. All right. Next to my R80GS. That was a 1984 R80GS that I bought new. The far side, that's an on-off-road BMW. They built them for the Paris to Dakar race across Africa. And then that's a picture of it. I had a little air seat on there because the seat was hard as a rock. So there you go. And there's my Z3 that I bought brand new over to Buddy's house there. That's 1996. So, and you want to see a Harley? I've had a few Harleys. Let's pull up a Harley. Harley. Oh boy, can't show you that. Pulled up a picture of the wing house girl named Harley. You want to see her? I'll show you Harley. Here's Harley. She's a wing house girl, though. Wing house girl named Harley. Can't beat a Harley like that. Harley. Okay, let me see if I can find the motorcycle. The motorcycle. Motorcycle. Oh, here's another model at the Harley Davidson place. Oh, they're not loading in properly. All right, let me try something else. Let me search the model number and see if I have it keyed by that. Ah, that did come up. Here's the green one. Yeah, this was one of my favorites. This was the dark green and black. What year was that? I'm trying to think. 1998, maybe? 96. Yeah, 96 FLHTC UI Classic. So that, yeah, I bought that new. I had it for about a year or so. Then I sold it. This was back when they were kind of popular and you could actually make money on them. Then I got a silver and blue, two-tone silver and blue after that. But I really like the dark green and black. That's the Ultra Classic. That's loaded up to the gills with the real nice sound system and stuff and the fairing lowers and all that good stuff. So, there you go. Motorcycle. And I had a bunch of other motorcycles, but we won't bore you with all the details on the motorcycles. Okay. Okay. Old Knucklehead would be so sweet. No, they're trouble. They give trouble. I like that FLHTC UI. It was fuel injected. That's really nice having the fuel injection, man. They start up just like a regular car and just run. Even when they're cold, just start them right up and just go. None of that coughing and sputtering, with the carburetor. That was the first year that they were injected. They had a special limited edition the year before that was injected. But 1996, all the Ultra Classics were fuel injected. Ever had close calls with bikes? Couple of times, but nothing. Close is close. When they make contact, that you got a problem. They can come close, but as long as they don't make contact, you're okay. I've heard mixed opinions on the BMW GS Dual Sports being too heavy for off-roading and being too maintenance demanding. How were they for you? Yeah, maintenance is a problem. It is. I didn't. I mean, I only put maybe, I want to say 20,000 miles on that bike, if that. And so it wasn't. There was one time I had it serviced and they said something about the spleens or something had to be lubricated or something, and it was like X amount of dollars and all that. Yeah. Any BMWs, I don't care if it's a car, a motorcycle, and Mercedes are insane as far as maintenance. I drove Mercedes for years, and I drove the 240Ds and then 300Ds, and those were pretty reliable, pretty bulletproof. And didn't require a ton of maintenance. When I say for years, I drove them for a couple of years, 2-3 years. I had some of those cars. And I was always buying and selling cars back then, so I didn't keep cars that long. But they were reliable, good, serviceable cars, but they're the exception to the rule. Most of the other, like an S-Class Mercedes or something like that, I mean, they're a nightmare. So are Jaguars, all those other. The only decent, reliable cars are Toyota, and then when Lexus came out, I had a 1990 LS400, fantastic car. I ran that thing it had over 100,000 miles on it when I sold it, and it was still running like brand spanking new. And I bought when I sold that, I bought a 2002 LS430, and that was fantastic. I'll show you that puppy. That was a neat car. And that took me right up until I bought the 2004 Prius, which I still have. Okay, so let's see here. And here it is when I had it lettered up with branding for the company. There's my 2002 LS430. LS430. That was a hell of a good running car, too. The only reason I got the Prius is I needed the hatchback to put the Segway in the back of. Because I take the Segway a lot of places, and I needed an easy way to carry it. And I love the Prius because it's got 450 miles of range, and it runs great. Talking for the time, showing us your... much appreciated. Oh, no worries, no worries. No worries. I'm going to wrap up here pretty soon, though, so any questions you have. What do you think about Honda Goldwings? Yeah, Honda Goldwing is probably bulletproof. I had a 4-cylinder one for a while, and it was pretty cool. Then they came out with the 6-cylinder ones. Craig, you have had some cool toys. Show us some Segway pics. Okay, you want to see a Segway pic? Segway. Yeah, I've had 2 Segways. I had one of the originals, and then I have one that I got like 8 years ago. First one I got in like, I don't know, 2002, somewhere around in there. Okay. Oh my gosh, I've got 934 photos that have something to do with Segway. That's insane. I hope you don't mind beautiful ladies on Segways. Okay? Let me double check before I cut to this, because there's going to be... All right, whoever asked for some photos, Segway pics, I know there's a delay, but let me know if you have a problem with photos of extremely attractive females on the Segway. Because if I show you some of these photos, there's going to be some extremely attractive females on the Segway. So let me know if you have a problem with that. Say yes to go ahead with the photos, or no to not show the photos. So yes means show the photos, No means don't show the photos. So I'll wait, because I know there's a delay. I'll wait until you answer that question before I can show these photos, because there's going to be some extremely attractive females in some of these photos. And when I say extremely attractive, I mean extremely attractive. I mean stunning, okay? Just as stunning as my GS. Photos are good as long as they're respectful. Yeah, I think they're respectful. They're just extremely attractive. All right, we got a couple more yeses. Okay, let's go over here to the photos. And you guys be the judge. Now, I can't see the comments, but we're going to go through a few of these. This is on Siesta Beach. I wintered down there for many winters. I'm not going down there this winter, unfortunately. I was there December last year. There's the Segway, just the Segway with a couple of tripods on either side. It's great for carrying a lot of gear. There's a young lady. This is up in Gettysburg. And that's down at the Sun and Fun Resort in Sarasota. She's a hoop dancer. This is at a car show down in Sarasota. And that's Audrey on the Segway. She loved the Segway. And another young lady on the Segway. Did I tell you that there'd be a bunch of extremely attractive females on the Segway? Did I tell you that? There's a racer on the Segway. Here's some ladies on the Segway, near the Segway. Some more. And there's the Segway's not there. It must be off to the side. There's a young lady learning how to ride the Segway for the first time. Another young lady on the Segway. I'm not pre-screening these photos, by the way. So, a couple of young ladies on the Segway. Another young lady on the Segway. There's me on the Segway. And you notice I've got a Rolex on. Rolex. There it is in the back of the pickup. I used to have a pickup that I pulled behind the motor coach because it was a manual transmission. There's a tennis player on the Segway down in Florida. There's Audrey on the beach. Where's the Segway? I don't know why she's in there without the Segway. Oh, another hoop dancer. Why would that be tagged Segway? Uh-oh, look at her. Whoa. Uh-oh. Did I lose the Segway pictures? Let me go back here. Back to the search. This was the Segway search. Why are some of those tagged Segway? Oh, there's a Segway. There's a Segway. There's a Segway on the beach. There's a cheerleader on the Segway. Oh, there's my Breezer. This is my favorite bike. This is made in California. Breezer Uptown. Those are really cool. Go back to the search and see if there's any more interesting Segway pictures. See, I take it to events, and they always want to ride the Segway, especially the kids. And if the parents give permission, I'll let them ride it. They always want to try the freaking Segway out. So it's a lot of advertising for us. It's free advertising. You know, they take their picture. It's got the sign on the front advertising the website. So they all like to get on the Segway. There's a couple of cops on the Segway. There's a politician on the Segway. There's me, the Prius in the background. See, there you go. That's with just a little bit of my gear. I'm traveling light that day, just one camera. Usually I have several. Okay. See what else we got here, just for grins. Oh, there's the motor coach in the background. And there I'm wearing my news vest. I can carry a bunch of gear in that. And there's my motor coach in the background. Oh, no, that wasn't a Rolex. I'm sorry, that was not a Rolex on my wrist there in that shot. Don't remember what that was, but it was not a Rolex in that shot. I think that was my my Swiss Army, my Victorinox or whatever watch. That was a real beater watch. I still have that watch somewhere. This young lady was from Brazil. She was absolutely gorgeous. She was gorgeous. Okay, Brazil. A lot of models come from Brazil. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, a bunch more. Oh, here, talking about Brazil, here was a festival they had. See the colors? Brazilian colors. I think that's going to be it. Let's see what else we got here. That's enough boring photos of the Segway. But there's some cowgirls with the Segway. All right. I think that's enough. That's enough people. Beautiful people with the Segway. Tampon on wheels. Oh, it's a fantastic car. Very quiet going down the road because it's so aerodynamic. It's very quiet going down the road, very comfortable. The seats are very comfortable. I was impressed because I had a Camry at the same time. I had the Camry and I had the Lexus LS430. And I went to look at the Prius and I thought maybe it would be too small. It wouldn't be that comfortable, but I wanted something I could load the Segway in the back easily with the hatchback. And I was impressed. When I drove it, I was like, man, this drives every bit as good as the Camry. It was really nice, and I love that car. Well, I still have it, so that says something. Ladies love the Segway. Yeah, they do. They absolutely love the Segway. And they like having their picture taken. Imagine that. Let me think. Yes, the Segway. Have you ever fallen off the Segway? It's okay if you have. It happened. Yeah, I was, one time I was going up a slight incline that was kind of tilted, and I hit some tree, like had some roots or something, and I hit something that kind of threw me off, and I was already kind of like on a bad angle to start with, and I went off of the thing. And it's the first time I actually fell off it completely. And one other time in the sand, it can be dicey in the sand. If the sand's pretty loose, it got kind of squirrely, and I stepped off it. I mean, I didn't really fall, but I stepped off it, and I kept hold of it. I didn't really lose control of it that time. But the other time, I actually went off the sucker. Yeah, you can do that if you're not careful. You hit something wrong. Like anything else. I mean, you can crash a bicycle. What makes the brushing on the GS better than the sub? How can you notice the quality of the brushing? It's just everything, all the little detail, the attention to detail on them is just insane, off the chart quality. You have to look at it in person and really examine it, and then you'll kind of understand. Craig, you have all the cool stuff, man. Great pictures and commentary. So well, here's the thing about gear. Gear helps you make money, in my opinion. And when the Segway first came out, I bought one of the first ones without the lean steer. It had the little twist steering thing. That was 2002. And at the time, it was the first one in Frederick County, up here in Maryland. I was the first one that had one. Nobody had ever seen one. And so I put the sign on the front, advertising Frederick.com, which is my main moneymaker, by the way, Frederick.com. And so I thought that I could get some free advertising with that thing for a while until they caught on and were no longer, a novelty. Well, here we are, 16 years later, or whatever the heck it is? something like 16 years later. And it's still a novelty. I mean, I still get a bunch of free advertising because I have the damn thing, because I can ride it in parades. I can, any event I take it to, everybody wants to try it and stuff. And I got my sign on it. And again, they take their pictures on it. That sign's right in the picture, right? That's free advertising. And not to mention that, but I can carry my gear. I can put a couple of tripods on it. I got my gear on me, you know, on my person. I've got that think tank belt with my cameras and all that. And so I can go around and I can cover an event much more efficiently. I can even go along a parade and it's like a steady cam. I can go along with my camera and film the parade by using that as a tool. So these things are tools to use to make money. So as is your vehicle, as are your clothes, as is your watch. Think of it as a tool to figure out a way to make money. Because in the end, it's all about making money. Don't let anybody tell you it's not. These people are going to say money doesn't matter and all this stuff. They're lying, okay? We're in a capitalistic society. Money does matter. It allows you to eat healthy food. It allows you to take care of yourself. It allows you to live in a comfortable place. It allows you to then make more money. And it just snowballs on itself. Okay, so all these things matter, and the people that care about these things and pay attention to detail and all, they're the apex predators. Okay, they're at the top of the heap. It's the people that don't care about the details, don't sweat the details, if you will. They're at the bottom of the heap. So you can be at the top of the heap or you can be at the bottom of the heap. It's your choice. Okay, that's enough lecturing. Okay. Grand Seiko wearing, Sony shooting, Prius driving, Segway riding badass. It's all about leveraging stuff. I like the quartz because we are not here to serve the watches. They're here to serve us. Why pay hundreds service? Rolex is 800 plus to service. Yeah, and that's the neat thing about the Grand Seiko 9F quartz movement. By all accounts, it will run for 50 years minimum without any servicing. Probably longer. Okay, and it's robust, super durable, robust movement. The spring drive is also a very robust movement. By all accounts, more robust than a typical mechanical movement because it doesn't have that escapement to cause wear and tear. Okay? So these are both durable, long-lasting units. The GS Diver is lovely, but I'm not sure of the fat backside of the minute hand. It doesn't, you don't even notice it. When I'm viewing that watch, I look at the time, I immediately can read it, no matter, even low light, without my glasses, so on. It doesn't, the style of the hands and all that never enters into the picture. I mean, you tune that out. And you also tune out people comment about the power reserve indicator, that's distracting. It's not. It may look like it on a picture on a computer screen, blown up and all that, but in real life, it just disappears. It's just in the background. You don't even notice it. So you really have to experience these watches before you know what they're really going to do. And the reason I kind of knew this watch was going to be fantastic is I wore the SBDC 007 Shogun for 2 years, and it was very similar in a lot of ways. Just not as accurate, just not as high-end, but very similar in a lot of ways because it was titanium and all that. And so I kind of knew what to expect. And then when I saw this watch in person, I was like, oh my goodness, this is insane. I couldn't leave the place without the watch. So, all right, well, we've gone on. I've got to eat something. I've got to eat something for sure. And it was a good time. And I hope you all enjoyed it. And make sure you click that bell. And hey, show Sarah some love, okay? Go Monday. Tomorrow will be a week, right? So a week ago, tomorrow, we did our first show. So last Monday, we did our first introduction show. Go to that video on my videos. Just click videos on my channel and go back in time to that video with Sarah and give her some encouragement for tomorrow night. Okay? Put some comments in there. Give her some encouragement so that she does the show tomorrow night and has a good time. I saw the GS Snowflake gold hands, not so... Yeah, the gold. I like the gold hands. Thought the whole thing looked super polished. Don't you think the Rolex looks quite unpolished? Well, if you compare the two, Grand Seiko takes everything to a whole new level. Whole new level. They just do. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. Well, the Rolex, it's not a fair fight. The Rolex is a machine-made, mass-produced watch. The Grand Seiko is handmade by artisans that are just amazing. Okay, so it's an apples and oranges comparison, really is. And Grand Seiko will never be Rolex. They will never be able to mass produce like Rolex does. They can't hire enough people to make the numbers of watches that you're talking about to compete with Rolex. So they're not going to compete with Rolex. They're not even going to try. That's why they don't do hardly any advertising. I mean, there's no reason to. They can't make any more watches. You know, they have some shortages now as it is from time to time. So if they got a lot more popular, they just wouldn't be able to keep up with demand. That's just the way it is. So it's going to be a niche watch for people that really know watches. They're going to be the ones that are going to have it. All the rest are just going to buy Rolex and going to not even know that Grand Seiko even exists. Compared to, I think, Rolex, metallic components look like basic stainless steel. But yeah, it's a machine-made, mass-produced watch. All right, everybody. Thanks again. Thanks again. I'm going to eat something. We're going to stop this puppy.